Hello everyone and welcome to episode 73 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment, the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. To catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice. Listen in the description below. I'm your host, GM and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian. Said it all in one breath. No, I didn't. That was a lie. Oh. the paternity test is determined. That was a lie, or whatever.
Impressive.
Insert Mori meme. The wall that will not fall. Tetsuo. He's crabby today too.
Clack, 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 clack.
The dark fortune do this meta.
I have a cat in my lap.
Hey, I want a cat on my lap.
That sounds like a personal problem there.
My cat's being an asshole today, so that ain't happening.
She is very happy and content and is purring away, so.
There you go. And the resident wild card, Mao.
Yo.
So what's up, everybody? How's it going?
I'm sick.
Everybody's sick. I'm going to just name this episode The Plague Spreadeth. Half the podcast is deathly ill.
But I'm not talking about Nurgle today.
I am going to cough on all of you.
I'm immune.
Through the interwebs.
Damn it.
Oh god, he's downloading this virus into me. He's hacked my immune system.
I'm hacking your immune system. I'm gonna make you immunosuppressed or whatever it's called.
I'm hacking. I'm anti-hacking you.
I can only see Obs as hacking in the way that Futaba does in the intro to Persona 5.
Oh my god.
Random keyboard presses. That's what hacking is.
Slamming of hand.
Or like she's like typing really quickly and her hands like cross with each other and cross back.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny is that they'd shown hacking like real life at all. It's pretty much just somebody kind of like clicking in the mouse and then every now and then typing something and then just kind of like staring at a screen.
Yeah, it's probably not that exciting.
Hacking is
despite what the movie Hackers taught us. No.
Who would have thought Hollywood might jazz up something that's otherwise very dull? Hacking's boring. It really is. You gotta have a lot of fun trying to crack into things.
Yeah. So, I know this is a little off topic, but this is what I'm excited about. We just got a cheesecake factory.
What?
There's not one anywhere around here. Like, within hundreds of miles, I don't think. Maybe, like, Atlanta has one, but, yeah, we got one. I'm going to try to go eat there tomorrow night. It's probably going to be, like, a 3-hour wait. Jeez. I'm going to go. This was not worth it. Because it's at the big mall.
It's not going to be worth it.
Damn it, Meta, don't put my expectations in the right place. When I get that chicken parmesan, disappointed. I want to wallow in my disappointment. That's the real seasoning of the meal.
Obs, you're not respecting what I'm trying to do here. Like a scorpion, I am trying to lower your expectations to such a low point that when you get in there, you're pleasantly surprised.
Oh, okay.
That's how you should do it. Especially for the Cheesecake Factory.
That's right. Especially if there was any place, I would have my expectations be pleasantly surprised.
But it's the biggest thing that's happened to Chattanooga in like 10 years. Since we got the cheddars.
Oh my god. Do you hear yourself?
I don't know what to tell you.
Do you hear yourself, Ops?
Yeah, I hear myself. I sound pretty silly. So what's everyone been doing other than agonizing on the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3, Son of Patriots, Dream Drop Keyblade?
I cannot wait for when I get to play as Raiden in that game.
Oh yeah?
He's pretty badass so far, so when he shows up in Kingdom Hearts
His name is Riku. They both have white hair, yes. They're two different characters.
I swear to God, if Riku shows up and he's got like cyborg and Hanson on him.
I've seen Riku cast thunder before.
As long as he's running around fully clothed, that's the most important thing.
Most important part. God.
Yeah, if he's doing naked cartwheels, then you know something.
Sora's got like a really deep voice now. Metal Gear.
Zora!
Great Fox!
Xehanort's just big boss. It all makes sense now, because everyone's everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing the parallels.
This is really depressing that this is so...
Oh, man.
It's very depressing that this is still on point, even now.
Apparently, the weirder you make your story, the more you converge on one story.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone's everything and time traveling is happening.
That's just it. Once everybody's Xehanort, nobody's Xehanort.
Maybe that's his goal.
I mean, please don't return everything to the void.
Yeah, I know, right?
The
Xehanort.
darkness.
Xehanort.
No, Mal, the void is not the darkness. I know that in my heart of hearts, the Kingdom Hearts is light.
Well, when I'm not worrying about who's going to show up in the no doubt sequel-tacular that is Kingdom Hearts 3, I have been spending my time solely playing Smash Bros.
It's good.
Do you have all the characters yet?
I do have all the characters.
I still don't have that damn me brawler. That's the only one I don't have.
You actually get you actually unlock like one of the little trophy things on the inside if you make one of 3 me brawlers. So if you just make one of each type, you're done. But I ended up using the trick to unlock everything.
Oh yeah.
I got a decent amount of them through that. But then I think they patched it.
They might have. I think there was like some inconsistencies later on. I do know that I originally, I actually did it twice because my friend picked up the game, and I did it for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I know. So, but let me tell you, man, doing that twice is a pain in the butt.
Oh, I
And
bet.
the AI, unlock the AI. I don't know who designed that.
It's
But
hard.
they should be fired and hung for how hard they made those to unlock. That's insane. They played perfectly, like frame perfect.
Wolf wrecked my shit.
I can't fight against that. They're playing perfectly. They know all the
He's
inputs.
parrying all my moves.
He's blocking all my moves. Massacre. I was like, there was one fight, I think it was with Cloud, which was the funniest one here. He like walked over, he short hopped, slapped me, did a forward tilt as soon as he landed on ground and his landing delay was over, slid, and then slapped me and spiked me down. I literally could not come out of that. I was like, I guess it's just how I die. It was so fast the fight was.
This kills the meta. Who have you been maining so far?
Cloud. I enjoy Cloud still a lot.
I've been playing King K. Rool a lot. I hated him at first. I've actually...
A lot of people, I think, are playing him.
It's actually been pretty balanced, believe it or not. Like, all the majors so far, I think a different character has won each one. So the meta still isn't really figured out for it.
I did see an article yesterday that Peach is really strong. But...
Yeah, Peach is strong. I think Olimar's been doing really well.
Olimar's pretty good.
Like, Ak won the last one, and no one thought Ak was going to be, like, super competitive.
Yeah, it's probably still going to take a little bit longer for the meta to settle.
The characters I've been enjoying the most, though, are Richter and...
yeah, they're fun.
I love them so much.
I've been playing Crom and King K. Rool, so those have been the two I've been doing a lot with.
I played it randomly at a Christmas party, and it was 8v8. Everyone had half a Joy-Con, and it was a mess.
Oh, God, that was probably miserable. That's got to be a nightmare.
We actually, that's what we ended up doing on New Year's Eve. We had everybody, we had some friends over and whatnot. We just ended up playing 8-man Smash with items on, and it was absolute chaos.
Yeah.
It was the best way to play that game.
I think I figured out most of the buttons by the 5th match or so. And then we decided to move on.
Like a pro. And on that note, shall we move on to topics?
Buttery smooth.
Yeah, I know. You set me up.
Honestly,
You're supposed to go all according to Keikaku, Mal.
Honestly,
And dip your head down and look sinister.
Honestly, Obs, I thought it was so good that I didn't even notice it. I'll expect the 20 in the mail.
I'll have that to you. Do you accept money orders?
Who's up? All right, who's up first?
All right, Mal is up first. What do you got for us,
it's
Mal?
Yeah, it's you.
Well, yeah, you're talking about something pretty big.
Well, it's that time again for our newest magic set.
Ooh,
Yeah, and we've got the second of the third because they went away from 3 set blocks, and then they went away from 2 set blocks, and now we're doing 3 sets on the same plane again. So we're on our second of the third Ravnica set.
Ravnica.
Also,
Yeah,
this-
Ravnica Allegiance.
Also known as the one with everyone's favorite guilds in it.
Right. Ravnica is the most popular plane, according to market research.
What is Ravnica? Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't
It is
remember.
what is the word? Econopolis? I can't remember the exact name, but it's a city or a planet. You know, a city covers the entire planet.
It's Coruscant meta.
Oh my god, that makes so much more sense.
Coruscant, but broken down into
Bolas is the emperor.
And it is ruled by, it is run by 10 different guilds. The last
cool.
set had 5, and this set is another different 5. 10-ish thousands, 10,000 years or so ago, they formed basically a set of rules that were so perfect it became magic and locked down the became enforceable through magic. And then stuff got messed up.
As it is
so
wont to do with
perfect.
these stories lines.
Right, and that was the guild pact, and then stuff got messed up, and Jace the Planeswalker ended up becoming the Living Guild Pact. So, and he hasn't been around for a while.
So it's messed stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, storyline wise, this is taking place alongside chronologically as what's going on that happened on Dominaria, and we're wrapping up the next set is actually like the finale, the Gatewatch finale. So something big will happen.
People
with the
will be
story
happy
and
to
going
move
in a
through
new
that.
way. So the set itself, each guild gets their own mechanic. You've got, starting off with Rakdos, which is each guild is two color combination of the 5 colors of magic. This is red and black. They are the entertainers of Rakdos and manual labor. They are run by a demon. They love violence and anarchy and general chaos.
As you would expect from Red Black.
Yes. The guild pact forbids their dissolvement, so that's how. I mean, otherwise they probably wouldn't have stuck around as long as they have.
Huh?
I would think, because they it's a circus of carnage. Their mechanic is Spectacle, which is an alternate casting cost for the cards. If you've or if an opponent has lost life, you can pay it for the Spectacle cost, and sometimes it's cheaper, sometimes it's more than the card, but
Lost
they
life this turn.
yeah, lost life this turn. Sorry, but they'll have an effect like Mix Mahdi Reveler, 1 in a red for a 2/2, and it has Spectacle for 2 black red. And then when it enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If you paid the Spectacle cost, discard your entire hand, then draw 3 cards. And the effect can vary quite a bit. Sometimes it's just a cost reduction, like they just spoiled recently Skewer the Critics, which is basically a dude takes a spear with a lantern on the end and slings it at someone who's leaving the show early.
Yep.
And it's 2 in a red to deal 3 damage to any target, or if an opponent has lost life this turn, you can pay it for its Spectacle cost of 1 red. Sorcery.
Bolt.
Yep. It's the Lightning Bolt equivalent, which is actually looks really good, and we'll probably see
I've already seen people brewing mono red decks.
Oh yeah, it'll probably see standard play. People are testing it in modern, and it is almost certainly to show up in Pauper because it is a common. Yeah, the flavor text is: going to a Rakdos show is dangerous. Trying to leave early can be fatal. Yeah, so they're all about like attacking is a good way to make your opponent lose life for the turn. So they're very aggressive. They do have some other cards, like the card I just mentioned. You could pay its full cost to enable Spectacle on a different card if you wanted, because damage does trigger loss of life. And yeah, they seem fun. I'm all about aggressiveness.
Yeah,
and
I usually like black red as a color pair and limited. So
yeah, it's similar in effect, or at least especially in limited, it will probably trigger a lot the same as raid. The mechanic raid, which was if you've attacked this turn, you get an effect. So yeah, it's gonna be super aggressive.
yep.
Next up is Orzhov, white and black.
Yeah.
Where?
Or insane
They
meta.
I was gonna say, where might I see these as well? So I want to follow.
I'll link you.
Ooh.
Keep going, Mal.
okay. So Orzhov is they're like a church slash mafia combination. If you just took the Catholic Church and the mafia and slammed them together, you get Orzhov. They believe wealth is power and sin is debt. Their mechanic is afterlife, and then a number, which means that when this creature dies, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. So afterlife 1, the creature dies, you get 1 token. If it has afterlife 2 and the creature dies, you get 2 tokens. This is definitely my kind of mechanic because it enables aristocrat strategies, which is when you sacrificing creatures for your own gain. Which this just gives you more bodies to sacrifice.
Yeah.
For 1 card. Outside of that mechanic, it looks like the rest their other cards, they're kind of as a whole, they're about gaining value through incremental value, whereas because Afterlife will give you an extra body or 2 or whatever on top for the 1 card, or they got quite a few abilities that might drain life, like just a little bit of life from your opponent, giving it to you, or discard a card effects. So just kind of gaining that incremental value. These first 2 actually, Rakdos and Orzhov, combined to make my favorite color combination of Magic, Mardu.
No.
Red, black, white.
No.
You were just against it for 1 deck. It's not even representative of the entire color.
I don't care. It's a good enough reason for me.
But I am already way more excited about just playing the set than the previous set. I love both of their mechanics. And
you ain't Grixis, you ain't down with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and black. I know black white was always Tats's favorite color combination.
Yeah, I love black white. Honestly, red white and red black are close seconds for me. So the fact that puts me in line with you as far as the favorite for the 3. But yeah, I love back when last time I really played was not too long after. I know Lorwyn was still legal, and I loved white black back then. Like that was my big thing. So Orzhov kind of became my surrogate guild because of that.
Yeah, and then after that is the Cynic Combine, which are a bunch of biomancers. They're green and blue, and they seek to basically kind of combine nature and science. They end up with a lot of genetic manipulation. On Ravnica, they end up, there are a lot of bioscientist style genetic experiments, but they also end up being the doctors of the common people. And their mechanic is adapt, which is it'll be adapt and a number, and that effect is this: if this creature has no +1/+1 counters on it, put the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So adapt 4 is you pay its mana cost, you get 4 +1/+1 counters. To go with that, they also have quite a few other cards that involve moving +1/+1 counters around so that you can get the counters off your card, so you can adapt again, and or just other like when this card gets a +1/+1 counter on it, draw a card, or and the discard a card type effects.
Extra value.
Yeah, basically just
Rummage
making the
and stuff.
creatures bigger and getting value for that.
I think
They
they'll
also-
be good and limited, just because having stuff to do with your mana is always good. Like mana
Yeah.
sinks are always good and limited when there's a stalemate on the board.
They also always get the best creature types. Like Sharkdo Crab.
Oh my god!
Sharkdo Crab for 2 green blue is a 4/4 with a and it has for 2 green blue adapt 1, and whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Sharkdo Crab, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature does not untap on its next controller's untap step. It is creature type fish, octopus, crab.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I am 100% okay with this
Yeah,
card.
this is absolutely something I want to see more of.
Yes.
Sharkdo
They
Crab.
have a galloping Liz frog, which is a frog lizard. Their guild
Jellyfish,
leader-
Hydra Beast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The jellyfish Hydra Beast is great. And their guild leader is a elf ooze wizard.
Oh my god.
She I don't know. She genetically combined her DNA with that of an ooze, so she has like tentacles for legs, and it's just they are definitely an interesting
Growth
visually
Chamber
interesting
Guardian
build.
seems like gas.
Which one's that?
The guy who can tutor for another copy of himself when you adapt.
Oh yeah,
Or put
That's always great
+1/+1 counters on him. He's an elf too. Elf crab warrior. So more good elf stuff.
and they have a frilled mystic, which is an elf lizard wizard, which a lot of people
Liz-Wiz.
are amused with. Yeah, just lizard wizard as a
That-
creature type.
Yeah, there was an old elf high bard deck called Lizard Wizards.
Oh,
That was a Naga with wizard deck back in Emperor Edition, but I digress.
nice. Yeah, and then after that we've got the Groll clans, which is green and red. One of my least favorite, actually, green blue is typically my least favorite colors in Magic. Red and green, despite red being my favorite, end up being one of my least favorite.
Huh.
It's my buddy's like favorite. He only
Yeah.
ever wants to draft or try to build red green decks.
So the Groll clans are kind of the odd ones out in the 10 Ravnica guilds, because they're a collection of clans that don't want to be a part of, like, they hate civilization basically. And they're all about survival of the fittest, and they believe civilization makes you weak. So they live in, like, they will raid areas and kind of destroy everything and then live there for a while and move on. They live in like the ruins and just run down areas. Well, typically you can find them. Their mechanic is Riot, which is when this creature enters the battlefield, you can choose either to put a +1/+1 counter on it or give it haste. So
Seems
they're all
really
about either
strong.
punching you in the face quickly or powerfully. Yeah,
It's-
this is probably this. I think this mechanic is going to be nuts and limited.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, haste is when
It means you get to attack that turn you play
Yeah,
it.
you don't
Yeah.
get summoning
And having a
sickness.
surplus of haste is going to let you just attack out of nowhere and in games.
Yeah.
This is like kind of insane. Just like the ideas that these creatures can just come in on the field, and you can just decide: do I want something that's a little bit stronger, or do I just want to just be able to swing?
Yeah.
Now? That's so
I think it's gonna
good.
be really good.
Options depending on the board state, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. That's
It's
almost,
very simple, but I think it's going to be very powerful.
I almost feel like that's better than. I think that's better at adapting to an actual area of how the board state is than the actual bloody adaptability.
Yeah, the adapt is most of the adapt cards cost a lot to adapt, so they're kind of
Yeah.
more late game. I mean, it's they've also got some ramp, which lets them put out more, the mana resources quicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something you're going to be doing early. Whereas Groll's definitely got some smaller, though they typically start around the mid range of creatures costs. But yeah, it's definitely. I think they're going to be one of the top guilds, or at least that's what a lot of people seem to think initially. We'll see where it goes.
All right, why don't we move along to the best guild?
The Azorius Senate apparently is his favorite. I wonder why. Could it be because they're slow and stupid?
Oh,
Just like you.
oh,
Oh man, those fighting words.
perfect.
They are centered on law and order. They are the judges.
Bum,
Oh yeah,
bum.
the Orzhov, white black, also offer you typically will offer defense lawyers. Azorius are the prosecutors. They make the laws and enforce the laws.
So, as a side note, I always felt like Orzhov and Azorius have been very much a scorpion crab relationship.
Probably even no. They're always against each other. They like never line up as an
Well,
alliance.
Well, right, but I mean, like, I've always kind of gotten that feeling of
If
somewhat
anyone's
of
the crab, it's the Groll.
yeah. Wait, did I say crab? I meant
Yes.
crane. Sorry, I meant crane.
Oh yes.
I
That is
apologize.
way
Okay,
better.
yes,
I
that would be
misspoke.
way better. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yes.
Who am I to
Uh,
shit on his?
I just
thoughts?
like white and blue. So
Though Demir is also part of that from the last set, which was the white black. 'cause they're
Demir's
all
cool
about
too. They're
spirits.
the edgy boys.
But the Azorius, their mechanic is addendum, which is the most Azorius name for a mechanic. And it is you get a bonus effect if you play it on your main phase, and because all of these are on either instance or permanents with flash, which lets you play them on your opponent's turn. So you get the flexibility of like being able to do it on your opponent's turn or doing it on your turn in your main phase and getting an extra effect. Like the example, Sphinx's Insight, 2 white, blue, instant, draw 2 cards. Addendum, if you cast this spell during your main phase, you gain 2 life. So yeah, they're usually are very control-y. They like to leave mana up so that they can either counter something or do something else, which is good for them that they get an entire mechanic based on instance and flash.
Yeah. And apparently Dovin's working for Bolus.
Yeah. Why is white blue your favorite typically?
Just because it's control-y. I
You
like
just
playing
like the
control
game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got lots of ways you can do creatureless control because you got lots of board wipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or it'll usually have like one big finisher creature. I mean that's most control anyways, but I kind of like more the play style of
yeah,
kind of like board sweeps and counters. Even though I do like kind of Grixis-y, like blow your stuff up like one by one too. So
yeah,
but as far as like a color pair, white blue. Also, white blue has flyers a lot of the time.
Yep, white blue flyers is definitely a thing.
Yeah. So
well, another one of their rares was precognitive perception, which is 3 blue, instant, draw 3 cards. Addendum, if you cast the spell during your main phase, scry 3, draw 3, which lets you dig pretty deep if you're looking for an answer. Yeah, so and then split cards and hybrid mana returns.
yeah.
Complete the cycle from 4. My favorite take on the split cards is Jane Austen's Blank and Blank, because they all have the first 3 letters are the same. The Simic one is incubation and incongruity. So it would be Jane Austen's incubation and incongruity, because Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was amusing. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I like it more than the past set. I think just because the guild, I just ended up liking the guilds more.
They are everyone's like favorite guilds, pretty much. Like you never hear anyone talk about Selesnya or like Boros really, or any of that kind. It's always like I like Simic, I like Orzhov, I like Rakdos. Those are like the big ones, or Gruul. Like those are the ones I always hear people talk about.
I'm curious to see how limited will shape up, because it'll be there. It'll be drafted completely on its own without the previous set, but it'll face a lot of the same issues as the previous set.
I think because Boros was like the best one, is what everyone agreed
No,
upon
it
by
was
then,
blue.
wasn't it?
Blue was
Was
blue. The two blue guilds were the best in the last one. Boros was in the middle. Green was at the bottom.
Gotcha.
Though if you were the only person drafting green, you could definitely come out with a winning deck, which was helpful because there were only like 5-ish decks. The last set was like the best received draft environment that I can think of ever, that where the drafting portion was actually pretty like mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Like the games that you ended up getting to play were just so good that people ended up really enjoying the set, which is so weird. Usually it's drafting the cards is one of the best parts about limited drafts, and the fact that was because there were only 5 and you had to like get in a lane. Basically, you're like, all right, after your first 3 picks or so, you're like, I'm just gonna draft Izzet, and I can't switch, because typically the great formats will be like by the time you get to your second pack, you're like, I need to pivot and switch one of my colors. You can't do that in these sets.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck.
But people were playing it to the very end, and they're like, this is still a lot of fun. So we'll see if that happens again.
I like more what it did for standard than anything, because we got a pretty like diverse Pro Tour as far as like just across the board. I think like the top 8 was still like one of the decks was pretty heavy. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, but that also takes into draft considerations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think standard's in a pretty good spot right now. Last I've heard.
Who knew that another artifact set would skew things?
Yes. Whenever artifact sets show up, standard breaks. Storyline wise, this is all ramping up for Bolus's big plan of something which we don't quite know of, but he's infiltrated half of the guilds. 2 from the last set, 3 in this set are under his control.
Who all does he have again?
In this set, he's got Orzhov, Grohl, and Azorius. He employed planeswalkers, though they don't all necessarily know that they're kind of like they're not all necessarily working towards his plans, but they're like working for him right now, because Orzhov, he employed a planeswalker, Kaya, who is a ghost assassin, is her job. So because Orzhov was ruled by a ghost council, and she killed them, or at least the active members, and she took control and is shaking things up by just freeing spirits, dissolving them of their debt, which is and just all of the leaders that he's employing are kind of causing chaos in their own way, or at least shaking things up, because Dovan Bond took control of Azorius, and they're not about chaos, but he basically he found all the legal loopholes and made himself ruler of the guild, basically.
Yeah.
And is like, he's instating a Minority Report style of group of people, so, and then basically just locking down as much as possible.
Too. Who's the other one?
Vraska with Golgari, who we learned, or who Jace wiped her memories under her idea that he'll restore when, in the final moments, so it'll be like a switcheroo. The other one was Izzet.
Gotcha.
So
he has all the cool guilds.
He's got a lot of cool ones. Yeah, we've learned some of the story we learned the overall story from the art book. But Niv Mizzet, the leader of Izzet, called for an alliance, and basically Dovan Bond's people kind of broke up the alliance without making it known they were doing so. They, more subtly, but yeah. So we're all still like, it's still all just kind of building. This is the next set will be the climax and resolution. So storyline wise, it's still just kind of building to whatever Bolus is plotting. But I'm definitely looking forward to drafting this online next week or the week after.
I'll be
Can't
going
remember.
to a pre-release
Very
probably
soon.
too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing it too.
Yeah.
That's why I inevitably end up in like Simic colors, the colors I don't want to play.
Yeah, that's how I feel. At least with the at least with the pre-release.
Yeah, with the pre-release you can
choose the
pick.
guild.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you going to choose?
I think I'll probably choose Azorius, though I might do Rakdos as well.
I think I'm going with Orzhov.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
the correct answer.
I need to see who has the premium removal.
Yeah, true. Or at least in common and uncommon.
Exactly. I'll listen to limited resources and stuff.
Yeah,
which I always do beforehand. So
we at time of recording, all the full spoilers will be up tomorrow. So by the time this comes out, they'll already be released, and that's where you get to see like all the commons that they don't make a big deal of showing off for the spoiler season.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be cool.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Meta, lay some stuff on us. What's the stuff? What's the
move
stuff
on from
you've
this
got?
card game into something else.
Yes, like another card. No, I'm just kidding. So this year, I think is going to be called Year of the Samurai Electric.
The year of the Bento.
We've got what do we have? We have Sekiro coming out. Neo 2 was actually announced
Hopefully
a while
that's
back.
coming
Yeah, hopefully that's coming out. And then there's also Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Also hopefully coming out.
Yeah. Neo 2
man.
seems
I think
like
Ghost
fairly
is-
likely.
Ghost is like a lot more likely than Neo 2 at this point, just because we
Yeah.
haven't seen anything about Neo 2.
Yeah.
We saw like a tiny little video on Neo 2, so I'm excited for it. I'm kind of hoping to see this stuff. But you know, these games, they come out, they give you different samurai. It's really cool and not, but even you just linked me the other day, Obs, like the information on L5R dropping out its next clan pack.
Well,
for
I think they've shifted their They want to get all the clan packs out because this is just what I've heard from secondhand from some of my buddies who still kind of play. But they realized they made a mistake with like the clan packs, like 2 every year or maybe 3 every year, because it just led to imbalances, obviously. So I think they're trying to. My buddy said they were doing the 6-pack 6 weeks things, but I think like they promised the unicorn one next, and it hasn't come out on time or something. Is what I saw.
The unicorn one, I think, was revealed before the crane one. So.
Yeah, I think they're doing them on month to month is the idea. Like, I think the unicorn one got pushed back to March, maybe, and then I think the crane one's supposed to come out in April, or it might be every 2 months. I don't know. I haven't been keeping a big track of it, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, it was kind of looking at some of the card previews they got in there. I'm kind of looking forward to, like, a little bit more dual focus. But, I mean, since the game was technically, apparently designed without dueling in mind. Yeah,
here we are 2 years later.
Yeah, I feel like they're just going to eventually have to at some point update this for it. But, I mean, there's a lot of samurai stuff dealing around.
They also announced the new... the Emerald Throne box or something too.
Yeah, they announced that too.
Like the first big expansion, but anyway.
Children of the Empire.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I don't know what it's even about. I don't even know how to feel about it because I don't understand like what it's supposed to be adding or doing. I don't.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of new cards.
It's just
I think it's just across
it's
the
like
board.
it's like the base set worth of cards for everybody. It might introduce a new faction. Sometimes they do that.
I'm kind of hoping that there's a little bit more because generally I feel like those kind of boxes should probably like bring along with them you know, like kind of a rules update, a reviewing of things. It should feel more than just like cards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really think the giant box is necessary at this point. You have so many things that have come out. So unless you're trying to rebalance everything, which let's be honest, nothing is ever truly balanced. So
we've already gotten like a whole another base set worth of cards by now, but
yeah, it's been hard to follow. I haven't
been a bunch of packs, like 12 packs released, not counting the clan ones. So
Yep. The clan ones honestly were probably the best ones because they focus
and they're bigger.
Yeah, that's always feeling nice. So, but I mean that's kind of the point. Like, there's just tons of samurai stuff going on this year. You got to look all over the place, but there's a lot of there's like different variations on samurai. I mean, you've kind of seen like we all have like the two stereotypical pictures is the full armored samurai with katana on the battlefield in this giant great armor and whatnot, and then you've kind of got the other samurai, which is like the one who's just wearing like the cloth, the silk shirt with the kama and with like the sword at his side. And those are the two different styles. And I feel like there's like a lot more to samurai, and if you've played L5R, you would know this, because they definitely go out of it. I actually wanted to ask you guys, what is like your kind of favorite design for a samurai that you've seen? What is something that's really stuck with you or kind of resonated with you?
Samurai Stormtrooper.
No.
Go first, Tats. Go.
I
What do you
mean,
got?
I feel like I know what your answer is.
I'm tied between two, right? Like, I love the image of the heavily armored, massive, like, double Tetsubo wielding crab clan type style samurai, but at the same time, I also have a partiality to the lightly armored, masked scorpion. So, like, I think the biggest thing that my brain focuses on whenever I think of samurai in armor is a mempo. Is how intimidating mempos can be,
Yes.
how much it expresses the pure samurai spirit of the warrior who wields it.
For those who don't know what a mempo is, what is a mempo, Tats?
Oh, it is the half mask that well, I guess it can be a full mask, but it's essentially a piece of armor that protects the face. It's part of the helm total.
I mean, it's spelled for those who are trying to look it up. It's MEMPO. But
Yes.
I absolutely get what you're saying. There are tons of different little variations and designs out there, and when you get into fantasy and whatnot, what the artists can like do and make of them are
Mhm.
pretty cool and interesting.
Well, and like I think actually one of my favorite mempos I've seen in L5R was actually a Lion Clan member. It was
Really?
this insane lion mempo, and then his helm had this huge mane. Like it was just
Dude,
this
all the line
personification
armor
of
looks
lion.
sweet.
Yeah,
lot
It
of
really
it
does.
It does.
I
I
love
love
the
their
way-
aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's because the lion have kind of got that they really do have like that stereotypical like armored samurai look down
Yeah.
pat. That
Well, they
really
have nothing
is
else
jam.
going for them, so they have to be
Shots fired.
like
Mhm. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I really think like the mempo is probably one of the coolest looking parts to a samurai. I mean, nobody ever thinks about it. Everybody's so used to like the heroes never wearing anything in their face because like you always want to show the hero's face. It makes them more human and approachable. But man, mempos are awesome. You put them
Well,
on a character and they certainly gain like an intimidation factor of times 10. It's
well, and
great.
it makes me think of what is the Kurosawa film with Takeda in his copies essentially, but Shinden Takeda, he would wear these mempos and he would wear these masks, and he had copies of himself, these
Oh
body
yes.
doubles that would wear these masks specifically to make his men think it was him. Like he like died of disease, and people thought he was still alive for like 5 years afterwards because of this.
Yes. There was actually a
Kagemusha, that's the movie. Kagemusha.
Yeah, Kagemusha is the movie where they quite literally lie about it, and it's believed that he's just like still alive for 5 years on.
They find this random beggar on the side of the road who like randomly looks like the daimyo.
Yeah, he's just very close and appears to the daimyo. But that's like the whole movie is based around this idea is that he's just kind of keeping it up until the clan is a little bit more secure in place and whatnot, so that they can't be attacked. Because nobody really wanted to attack him because Takeda Shingen was a really brilliant strategist.
He
And
was.
it was very hard to fight. So nobody wanted to go after him because he was really tough. With I think he had a friendly but very real rivalry between Usuagi Kenshin, I believe.
Yep. Yep. Well, and the other thing too was he was a master of cavalry. So
Yes, and as we have learned over our many talks, Japanese cavalry not exactly something to be terrified by unless you were from the Takeda clan.
Yeah.
It's just a couple horses. Takeda shows up. Ah, ah! So
Which is funny because the Takeda, like, were very much the unicorn combined with the scorpion.
they really
Like,
were.
anyway,
They were
so
inspiration pull from it.
They fought like the unicorn, manipulated like the scorpion.
They did.
Yep. we very
Takeda
much have
really
gone
cool.
off on a tangent at this point, though.
No, but it gives, but it, like, I guess again, it's a very specific look to a samurai and a design and kind of like what you feel and like what you like
Mhm.
about them, and from just an appearance perspective of
Well,
nothing more.
And I think that that's partially too why, at least in Japan, the Sanada clan is so highly upheld because they were a vassal of the Takeda, but they also incorporated a lot of other core samurai like
Yeah,
aspects.
absolutely.
So-
What about you, Obs? What about you?
Well, my favorite. I too am a fan of like the armor kind of thing. One of my favorite things about like samurai culture in general is just like the armor aesthetics are just awesome. Like I love the helmets. I don't remember what the part of the helmet with the basically like the emblazoned kind of thing. Like my favorite thing is like the antlers, like stag antlers. I love.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
Just
that part of the
though.
helmet is called. The decoration, the ornament part of it. There's a term for
like-
it.
Like how Date had the half moon.
The half moon, yeah. A lot of samurai use like insects because they found them to be frightening kind of visages and stuff. I just love like the design of armor and stuff is like one of my favorite things. So, much like Tets, I do love the heavily armored lamellard like horsebound samurai look.
The Yorori.
Yeah, but also I like the Ronin aesthetic too. Walking around with no armor and just a katana. It's just your skills. That's all you got.
I'll say that like both the stories told from either Ronin or a samurai perspective have been like really hard to like not enjoy because they give you very two distinct flavors in how storytelling is told. Just because of it.
Let's see. I'm trying to find out what that's called. So yeah, that's like my mounting points for attached crest. I'm looking on Wikipedia right now.
Yeah, like the kabuto is like, obviously the helmet and
The
whatnot.
helmet,
I
the whole
think
helmet.
it's just considered
I don't
part
know.
of the Kabuto.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's actually. I would assume there's got to be a name for it. I can't imagine
There
not
is.
being.
Yeah,
I've seen it before. I just can't remember what it is. But-
Well, while you're looking for that, what about
Yeah.
you, Mao?
That is a good question. I mean, my favorite thing about samurai is the thing that's most historically inaccurate, I guess, and that is the katana.
Are you saying katanas can't cut through steel beams?
Are you trying to tell me they're not the honor and soul of a warrior?
I absolutely love the Ido style. Anything that focuses on that. No armor.
Yeah,
typically.
no armor.
Basically, what is it? Gene from Rurouni Kenshin, or not Rurouni Kenshin. Gene from Samurai Champloo, or Rurouni Kenshin, or Goemon from Lupin the Third style characters.
Yeah. It is
Just the
hard
quick
not to love
strike
them.
speed of resheathing your sword.
It's called a Maya Date.
Oh,
My Date, that's right.
I absolutely agree with you, Mel. I have absolutely love for it. I don't know what it is. It's just this concept of like, what unsheath, strike the opponent, resheath,
Right.
all in a singular smooth motion. Just
Right, just the extreme speed aspect of it, being
yeah,
able to get through, strength or endurance or whatever. It just makes for very cinematic style of entertainment. What is it? What's the is it the blind swordsman?
I think it is.
What
I
is
think
his name with the sword cane?
Oh,
Can't remember.
yeah.
Starts with a Z.
Zenshin?
Kenpachi Zaraki. No.
Zatoichi? Is that
Zadoichi, yeah.
Yeah,
Said the
yeah.
blonde swords.
Yeah, that style also. Or yeah, just I love a whole that sort of everything.
That stuff is just absolutely cool. I mean, that's kind of what helped me fall in love with that specific style. I just it's very flashy, it's very showy, and it's definitely like what's displayed in unfortunately
And
movies and whatnot is not really. Yeah.
so unrealistic.
It's just so yeah. I was just gonna say absolutely unrealistic, but man, oh man, do I
so
love
fun
it.
though.
It is.
I mean, watching IDO demonstrations is cool and all, and
Yeah, it is.
typically it's always the non-armor style,
Yeah.
just
I mean,
garb of whatever and Hakuma.
the original. I mean, like what makes it kind of interesting because the original idea behind Iaido and Iaijutsu it was techniques to essentially just help a samurai draw his sword from uh an exposed position essentially. To kind of always allow you to have your weapon in hand and make it a potential attack or defensive maneuver so that you weren't effectively weakened by the fact that you didn't have your weapon in the proper place and it wasn't drawn at that moment. So, but
In actual practice, it's always like just kind of just going through a kata style of
yeah,
thing, especially nowadays. Like,
yeah,
not even like it's not like a martial art or anything. It's
yeah. It's
like
a very much an old and
obviously you
art.
you don't have people fighting against each other like kendo or whatever. It's just it's a demonstration solo or whatever. But
I think, man, I could go into talk about that. I'll leave that for maybe a different day or something. But nowadays, if you were to like look it up, you're going to see a lot of demonstration. It's mostly just going through forms and showing them off, or potentially even going
the
through.
duelist archetype is my favorite in Alpha.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is where my crane comes in.
Yep. God, you know my love for the crane.
Yeah.
And it's really just the duels. It's not anything else. I just really like the dueling part.
But why not the dragon, man?
Because they used to, and I like.
Can
I
you
like the
really call the dragon dueling? I mean, yes, they are dual wielding, but I think they misunderstood the phrase duel.
They're cheating.
That's not fair. He brought 2 swords in this fight.
I thought it was a duel.
Somewhere Taz groaning.
I know, right? Where's that in the rules? Can he do that? Can he bring 2 swords to a 1-sword fight? Is that possible? It doesn't say a golden retriever can't play basketball in
I
this.
was that close to making an Air Bud reference.
That's what it is. Oh god. I mean, obviously loving aspects, but if I'm gonna agree with anybody here, it's probably gonna be with Mao. That's probably my favorite part about samurai. Is the most unrealistic part about them.
Yep. It's the
but
katana. Now it's just iconic.
Yeah, it's
But it was all spears and bows. Like
oh yeah, spears, bows, classic armor and whatnot. You definitely the katana like any good sword when heavy armor came around was pretty much like having a sidearm just in case your main rifle jammed up or something.
I think I saw somewhere there was some statistic that said something like I have no idea how they came to this number, just to clarify, but like something like 40% of like all fights devolved into essentially jujitsu. Like that, like usually with armor they would end up like bashing each other without weapons.
It's like, not. I mean, that's not. I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised by it. I would be interested to know more and to see if that's even the actual number.
Yeah, and it may be less, but still, like there was a good amount of like jujitsu itself as a martial art was designed to defeat opponents in armor. That was its whole point.
Yes, because it doesn't really rely on striking or hitting something. It's relied on throws and grapples, which I mean, armor doesn't really protect you if somebody just twists your arm the wrong way. So
I mean, ideally the armor would.
Yes, the armor would prevent them from. Yeah,
but,
exactly. But I mean, obviously, that's not always the case.
Right.
Obviously, having a weapon would probably be the better instance of it. I can't remember what I was gonna say, but I can see that because when knights, when full plate came around, like we have the classic image of like a knight in full plate with a shield and sword in hand, and everything about that is probably right until you got to the shield and sword. because there was no point in wielding a shield when you had full plate on you. Historically, they just didn't. There was no need because the shield was your armor. So why carry another shield on top of that? And then the sword, obviously, well, you just didn't really want to use a sword because swords were bad against, plate and whatnot. So
And pole arms usually did the trick.
yeah, I don't know. That'd be really interesting statistic to see because because I mean, a spear and the halberd and the naginata to an extent, really were like the best weapon to have. And I know that samurai armor, the oyori, was not as protective as putting yourself in essentially a metal box. So I would love to see the numbers on that. That'd be very interesting to see. But yeah, I definitely love my samurai drawing technique, cutting food down.
If I
I
can add an
absolutely love it. What?
Or go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I absolutely love it is when they go really over the top, and he's already killed the guy, and he's sheathing the blade slowly, and you hear the chink, and that's when the dude dies. I'm like,
It waits for the click to explode.
yes, like it needs a magic clink for him to finally explode in the shower of gore.
Yep.
I just don't know what it is about that. That's so
man.
amazing. It's literally over the top. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna addendum the whole like adherence to a code of honor. Like, and again, we see that with knights as well. Like, that's
Yeah.
very much romanticized. Like, right? Like,
Yeah,
half
very
the reason why we had the
romanticized.
Crusades was because we had bored knights that were too busy causing problems in Europe, so we sent them over to the Middle East. But,
Very bored knights.
yeah, like, but I mean, like that ideal, like, again, I hate to keep bringing up Akira Kurosawa, but his samurai films.
He really, I was gonna say he really kind of cornered that market for a while.
Yeah.
Right, and Seven Samurai to me is like Seven Samurai kind of details the aspects, the 7 cornerstones to Bushido in each of the samurai, and like,
a lot of his films were about how, like, kind of like you were saying, the samurai weren't so honorable. It was more like the heroes who displayed the true honor in the face of those who become corrupt.
Well, I mean, like, what was his name in Seven Samurai? The guy that like pretended to have
Kikacho, was that what you're talking about? The one who's the
what?
peasant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
it's
pretends
Kikacho.
to have a lineage that he doesn't have, but he proves his samurai spirit by the end of the movie. Like, that just like is
He's a very
awesome.
good character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever seen Samurai 7, the anime adaptation?
He's great.
Oh
I
my-
love that character.
He's
That
a very good
character.
character. I mean, the Seven Samurai is a classic. You can generally look up any series that has like sword fighting, and I'm almost certain you will find like some homage to them. The Clone Wars from Star Wars. There was a Seven Samurai episode for it. In fact, I think it was a 2-parter. But they did a Seven Samurai episode. It was great. It was awesome.
He was voiced by
Magnificent Seven,
God.
the Western, was totally
Absolutely.
A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life. Yeah.
Yes, A Bug's Life was the Seven
God.
Samurai as well.
It was. I never realized. My mind is blown.
To be fair, A Bug's Life is probably not it is very far from it. Even
A Bug's Life borrows from Magnificent Seven, which borrows from Seven.
yeah, I was gonna say like
It's
Bug's
the-
Life is pretty far.
Yeah, it's
on
the
it.
associative property of
Yeah.
based off of.
Yep.
But I mean, it technically does have parallels, so you gotta sort of count it.
Farmer goes off to find someone to help defend him.
Yep.
Yeah.
You find the 7 AIDS.
Man,
That explains why Bug's Life for the longest time was my favorite Pixar movie.
But yeah, I love the romanticized, honorable version of things too. It's why it's like I always like kind of gravitate towards the more honorable characters than dishonorable ones, even like
Trained in
outside of
a
L5R.
I think it's also part of the fact is that like when you look at a samurai and if you actually look at the real history of it, like if you were to play a legit samurai, you would be trying to think about what's the best way I could kill somebody and get some land from this lord who needs somebody dead. And that'd be pretty much it. You'd like find 2 other guys like, let's go do this fight. Here's our strategy. One of you is gonna challenge this other dude. This other guy is gonna make sure that nobody interferes, and then I'm gonna sneak up and kill him behind him. And then we're gonna do this 3 times. We can all bring 3 heads back, and then we'll have tons of gold and whatnot. And then we'll be awesome landowners. And in the meantime, that was strategy. That was samurai strategy. They just literally tried to it was legit.
Catch each other unawares constantly.
Yeah, as constantly as possible. Like, there's no honor in this. I just want to win.
Well, I was gonna say, there's a whole nother topic about samurais just being head hand.
Well, meta,
I know, right?
if you've studied leadership like a proper samurai, then you know Akoto Kami said there are only 2 alternatives: win or die. By the way, that might be like, out of all like my weeaboo-ness and like absorbing L5R stuff, I love randomly cloning leadership to people in real life because I have so much of it memorized.
I kid you not, to this day I still go back and sometimes read The Sword from Kakita just because I love some of the quotes in there.
Every now and again,
a lot of them are great.
I do want to be like, I can swim. So people like,
in fact,
you guys are nerds.
I know, right?
We love you too.
Today, I kid you not, I was actually looking up some quotes because a friend of mine, for a Christmas gift, sent me a custom-made box, wooden box, that had a number of coasters in it, and it has different mons of different clans etched into those coasters.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it was very cool. And around the sides of it, though, it has
Did you
quotes.
deny it 3 times?
I can't deny a gift that was sent to me.
No, send it back.
How dare you?
Give it back to the guy.
I mean, if you're sure, I will send it back. No.
Everyone's favorite part of role-playing L5 are the 3 refusals.
I've never seen that part done.
It is always with such trepidation.
I know. Everybody's like, ugh.
I love when you get the person new to L5R who doesn't realize and they accept the gift, and then everybody goes, "Oh!" like out of character.
Yes.
It's like the push the alarm button.
Like the GM has to say, he's like, you're actually supposed to refuse it like twice.
That's why you give the newbies an etiquette roll, but still.
I know. No, I was like, but I got that, and they had on the outside of it, there were quotes from different characters, and I was like, huh, some of these are quotes I've never seen before. So I started looking up quotes today, and there's some really good ones in there. I definitely give props to a crab one, which I thought had probably one of the coolest quotes. And I think if I remember at the top of my head,
it's one of the crab curses, isn't it?
No, it's not one of the crab. No, it was by Hida. I think it was Hida Daizan or Daizo or whatever, but he essentially states that, like, you know, a samurai's life has value in his death. So I will be giving your life some worth. And I believe he's saying it to somebody he's about to kill. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's really cool. I'm butchering it horribly, but I would absolutely look it up. It was just like that kind of stuff. I was like, these are really cool quotes and whatnot. But
and that particular quote is taken further in the fiction with, like, making sure you don't just throw your life away in duty, like making sure you live before you die in your course of duty. Like it's also like a cautionary tale, so to say, towards other crab members.
Which would be good. Those are the best kind of lessons. But we're veering off course here. But absolutely. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying when you say you like start quoting people the stuff, because I love the quotes. Some of them are really good.
Yeah, so. In real life, one of my friends hates using self-checkout in the grocery store. And they've told the story before. He absolutely hates it. Too. I like using it, and he was.
I do too.
He just
why talk to people?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Why can I just be introvert and like never associate with anyone ever?
Right.
Please, thank you. No, he was like, I don't use those. He's like, they pay people to ring stuff up for me, so they need to ring it up. And then I was like, I just randomly went, let me tell you the story of Akoto when he commanded his followers to rise in the morning and ensure all the castle's chores were done by the time the servants woke. It's one of his strict commandments. I was like, so do things for yourself. Don't have your servants do it for them. Do it for you. You should not keep servants if you do not need them.
Oh my god!
I started lecturing him in character as a line, and then I was like, he was like, I hate you, and he just went to self checkout with me. I I was like, ugh.
I feel like
I was
you
like,
could've
all these
substituted that
all
with
these
the,
years of play-by-post playing line characters.
Finally pay off in this one pivotal moment in my life.
Yeah, I'm in
I
character
feel like
constantly.
you could have easily replaced that with the tale of Darth Pelagius.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was about. I was.
Let me tell you the tale of Darth Ringy Uppius the Wise. Yeah, I've become
God.
RSO. Oh no.
Oh my god. All right. Yeah. No. Thank you for that, guys. I feel like this is a great start
I
to
love-
the year. I felt.
yeah.
I
You
also
had to
needed
start
put
it
in
off
my-
right.
I had to start it off right because it's my first one since I've been back. So I unfortunately missed the last one.
I know.
So I
We
feel
made
like
fun
it's
of you as was appropriate.
I
For your
appreciate
illness.
that. For my
That you can't help.
For my New Year's resolution, I resolved that I would do twice as many samurai topics this year.
Hey.
I'm gonna take the time to add up how many samurai topics.
For all like samurai.
Don't actually hold me to that. I did not make a resolution.
No, you've made it now. I am going to hold you to it. You say it like you're sad. You know you will like it.
Oh god, what have I gotten myself into?
All right. Let's transition away from samurai towards something else. It's time for Tetsuo's topic. So what do you
Dinosaurs?
Who
got?
talks
What do you
about
got?
samurai?
Dinosaurs?
Dinosaur samurai.
Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na.
The Ankylosaurus, the strongest of all crabs.
I now see one of those with like a blue and
Yeah, like a
gunmetal
little
gray
blue,
helmet.
like crab helmet on and whatnot.
I'm laughing because the game I'm going to talk about is Jurassic World Evolution, and the first Ankylosaurus I made, I named Hida.
Ah, he did it.
They have their own built-in Tetsubo on their tail.
Exactly.
That was why.
They're literally a crab. My god. This revelation has both shocked me and I need to go get a drink for it.
They were always my favorite dinosaur growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, weirdly enough. Them
I
and
actually loved
was it Dimetrodons? Who was the ones that had the giant fin on their back?
Dimetrodon did, but Dimetrodon was not a dinosaur.
Oh, really?
It was an amphibian.
I hate the giant fins on things. I don't like. It looks
Mal, I was 5. My tastes were terrible. Okay.
well.
I don't know, Obs. Your taste is still terrible.
I was
I like
waiting for that.
Dimetrodon too, but my favorite was always Deinonychus, the true
Well-
Velociraptor.
I was about to say is like my favorite was the Velociraptor. It was only because of Jurassic Park, obviously.
So I have
I
a
love that
tangent
movie
that
so
I
much.
can go off on that I'm not going to fully go off on.
Don't
But
do it.
the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park are true Velociraptors because Deinonychus' scientific name is Velociraptor something. So it is a Velociraptor. Anyway,
I was never big into dinosaurs. Like it just is never like I didn't never got into like as big as like typical kids might or it seemed to.
I was like
Yeah.
that's why I loved Horizon Zero Dawn so much because like just the dinosaur aspect of it. Like I think I was 5 or 6 years old and I had like this encyclopedia that was like 2 inches thick of dinosaurs. And my mother actually recently gave it to me in expectation for me to give it to our kid when we have it here in February. But
I want to just interject here. Like, Mao's like, I didn't have that. Like, do you ever think your parents worried about you, Mao? He's like, there's just not something wrong with our son.
No.
He's just not interested in dinosaurs.
I was actually just more interested in real animals that are like alive animals and stuff. Like I had a giant
I like how you
binder
corrected that.
book thing of like just different animals.
I actually I have to say is like I actually had a lot of those as kids too. I loved the current like living animals. I had like books and books, like lots of picture books because I'm a stupid kid. But
do you guys have the what was it called? The zoo something books like that you could get in mail ordered.
I know what you're
No.
talking about.
no, I
These
didn't
were
have
like mail order, I think, but they were like it was like a binder thing. Like you could swap, you would just add them into like a 3-ring binder or whatever. I had a lot of those.
Yeah,
actually-
that was part of it. Yeah.
Okay, maybe then.
I actually had like this National Geographic, not the books, but there was these like this VHSs, pulling real far back. Start saying Betamaxes. I had these VHSs of like this National Geographic thing, and it was like this chameleon, I think this flying squirrel or something like that in there. No, bush baby. It was a bush baby in there. It's some other critter, but there was obviously a kid show and whatnot. But that's like I loved watching those so much.
Do you remember the Krat Brothers? Did you watch the Krat Brothers on PBS?
I didn't.
We have horribly deviated
Yeah,
from the original topic.
Totally
Dinosaurs turned into real life animals.
When half of your team is still foggy minded from sickness,
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah.
happens.
we'll blame it on that.
And for me, like as a kid, dinosaurs and animals were like my thing. And Jurassic Park always pulls me back to my childhood because Jurassic Park. Well, Jurassic World in this case. So of course, as soon as I was able, I picked up Jurassic World Evolution, which wasn't until here around Christmas, even though it dropped in June. It's developed by Frontier Developments. They're the same team that did Planet Coaster and Elite Dangerous, which are two other games I totally enjoy and love playing.
That is such a weird combo of games to be known for: Planet Coaster and Elite Dangerous.
Well, so they had always done the Elite games, but they were the original team on Roller Coaster Tycoons 1 and 2. And so when Roller Coaster Tycoon split from the sub developer, it kind of started to tank, and like they kept on. But I want to say they also did Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which was an older like park building Jurassic Park style game. And Jurassic World Evolution is kind of the spiritual successor to that. It is a park builder where you build your own Jurassic Park. In the Jurassic Park fiction, you have Isla Nublar, which is the one big island where everything constantly happens at, and all the problems pop up. But there's 5 other islands around it. I forget what it's called, but it's the Isla de los Muertos, I think, the Islands of Death. And
I wasn't gonna make this joke. I didn't want to interrupt you to make it, but
There you go.
are we sure this island isn't like one giant Indian burial ground or something? Because I mean, we've had movies where lots of problems happen on them. It's called the Islands of Death. I feel like theirs might be.
Yeah, it's called Las Cinco Muertos. Is the 5 deaths is the name of the islands around there.
I'm fairly certain this is an Indian burial ground. We're just building these parks on now.
But each of the islands like presents a different challenge in the game, and each island like has a different challenge for building a park in it. One of them is tropical storms hit it more. One of them is you have barely any land to build on. But it's what's the word I'm looking for? They're each different. They're each unique, I guess. Is kind of where I'm going with it. And you have campaign mode where you can go through and you can build these different parks on all these islands, and then you have Isla Nublar where you get to build in sandbox mode, and you get to build your own Jurassic World essentially.
So here's my question for you, and the one that I think I feel is the most important to answer. Did you A, have a man-eating dinosaur get out, and B, did you send a team after it, giving them only tasers to deal with the problem?
So,
Did you hire a better IT professional?
Yes. And yes.
And did you do a thorough background check on him?
So the game has that same kind of feel as a lot of your other park builder, city builder games. So you want to make sure you have a good security team. You want to make sure your facilities are in place before you bring in any carnivores into the park, like hands down.
Really? Who would have thought that maybe you want everything in place before you bring in man-eating dinosaurs?
I mean, there's been issues in
Let's not rush
Jurassic
now.
Park in the history before,
Yeah, who would have thought? They seem to have a history of letting dinosaurs get out of the park and eating people.
Yep. But one of the cool things that I do like, you have two different forms. You have the Rangers and the ACU. The Rangers, they have Jeeps essentially, and you can actually take control of the Jeeps and drive around and go to where a dinosaur breaks out and is rampaging among your guests and start like trying to lead it back to the enclosure. The ACU is your helicopter emergency response team, and they're the ones that can actually tranquilize your escaped dinosaurs. So, T-Rex breaks out, you're gonna send your helicopter over there. If it's a Stegosaurus, you might be able to bring him back in with some ferns,
Is there the team that just uses rocket launchers to solve this problem, or?
No, because you don't want to waste that money, right? Like
Yes, that
you
couldn't
invest
possibly
all this money.
backfire.
Well, so one of the kind of cool things I think is whenever you create your pen, you create this hatchery, and so you have to spend money to start the eggs, but there's always a chance the eggs will not make it to full maturity.
Really?
And yeah, and what part of that plays into it, you can actually start to mess with the genes a little bit. So you inject a little bit of this, a little bit of that, make it so it lives longer, it has a higher attack, has a higher defense, etc., etc. But those things will lower the chance of it actually making it to term. So there's always a chance it just doesn't hatch because you've messed with the DNA too much. So you might spend $6 million into this dinosaur that doesn't make it out, and you're like, crap, how do I recoup those losses, right? So that's kind of part of where the management aspect of the game comes into play. One of the big negatives to the game, the management part is not it's not as in depth as some of the other like park builder games. It's kind of shallow a little bit, but you're way more focused on making sure your dinosaurs aren't like destroying your facilities, your dinosaurs aren't eating all your people, than you are worried about charging them the right amount for a dino hat, right? Like,
Is it generally now for this game? Because I kind of looked into it a little bit, and one of the big issues that I did see was that it is kind of a bit shallow. It's not. It's there's really only one side of this pool. You can't go to the deep side of it. Would you say that even though it's kind of got that shallowness to it, you end up spending a fair amount of time trying to essentially splitting your time because of because there's an actual sense of danger to these creatures that you have to
yeah,
spend time on maintenance and making sure that they're okay, making sure that they stay alive while also maintaining your prices and taking care of this zoo essentially is
yeah.
enough to make up for that shallowness?
Yeah, I feel like it is. So in the base game, there is 37 different dinosaurs you can create, and I think after all of the expansions they've since put out, and a few of them are free, there's like 56 dinosaurs or something like that.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so there's a lot of things you can be doing. You can be constantly going off on sites and excavating. So it's kind of more geared towards creating these dinosaurs, playing with their DNA, putting dinosaurs that don't mix into pens, hoping things don't go to hell, more than it is about charging right prices and making sure your park doesn't tank financially. It's not so much a financial simulator as it is a make sure everything gets along nicely simulator. If that makes sense.
No, that makes
Um,
sense.
you can get contracts, but the contracts will start to kind of just repeat themselves a little bit. They tend to be kind of simple and easy. But one of the cool things you can do is when you jump into the Ranger, into the Jeep, you can actually take pictures of your dinosaurs and sell them for money. And so part of the game is designed to allow you the freedom to be able to do that and not worry about your finances. You're able to jump in and just drive around in the Jeep, go watch your dinosaurs, and just take a bunch of pictures without, oh no, do I need to pop out in a moment's notice because,
Yeah.
this has happened. But at the same time, you have to do that because Velociraptor, you put more than 3 Velociraptors in the pen, it doesn't matter how big that pen is, you are going to have problems because they are
Yeah.
going to figure out how to break it down. It just hands down is going to happen. If you want to distract
It's like 3
Velociraptors,
cats in a pen.
Yeah, if you want to distract them, put Dilophosaurus in there, the spitter dinosaur, because they will go attack it rather than attacking your fences. Like, it's cheaper to make this dinosaur for them to eat than it is to mess with them breaking down fences.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But game-wise, it like, again, it does gear towards the dinosaur fan. It gears towards the people that are into Jurassic Park because it's Jurassic Park. It's not as big into the world builder, but it does have those aspects all the same. Like, you can't just ignore it. You will fail if you just totally ignore your monetary income. But it's not hard to build that up, essentially. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I haven't really gotten into any of the DLC yet, but the DLC starts introducing more dinosaurs, more challenges. You get, I think in the Secrets of Dr. Wu, you start to unlock the ability to splice different dinosaurs together. Like get your Indominus Rex, which is, T-Rex and Velociraptor. I think they get, I had pulled up. Like the Spinoraptor is a Spinosaurus crossed with a Velociraptor, Stegoceratops, that kind of thing. I haven't really gotten into that part yet, but I'm looking forward to getting into it. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, again, I very much clarified that I am very much a dinosaur fan, so it's very much marketed towards somebody like me. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear. I have been tempted to pick it up, but I still don't know yet. But
I believe
I
if it's
might.
not, it may not still be, but it was on sale on Steam. So
The lure of childhood nostalgia for dinosaurs is much too strong for meta.
The lure, just so powerful. I gotta play dinosaurs.
We need another good Primal Rage.
Oh,
Bring back, give me my
love
dinosaur
that.
fighting game.
Yes,
man, I would
bring
eat
back
that
Primal Rage.
up.
Love it.
That's like one of the weirdest things that never got a reboot. Like, I thought that was like sure, because they sold toys, all kinds of stuff.
I'll say this: I still have my Vertigo toy action figure.
I had all the T-Rexes, and I think I
Which
had
one?
the
Diablo or the other
I had
one?
both of them, the yellow one and the red and black one, and I had one of the gorillas, the Os gorilla.
I had the Spiny Ankylosaur and Vertigo, as I said.
I think I had the spitter too.
Vertigo, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you could put water in her, and then she would shoot the water. Man, toys were so good in the 90s. Now we got these dang Naruto Rasen shurikens that cut through laundry or whatever. Have you seen that commercial?
No,
It's a giant meme. I'll find it in a little bit.
By all means.
Okay, let's get on to my topic. I'm going to segue us back from dinosaurs to samurai. Because it's January, which means that the winter anime season has started, and there is a samurai anime in it. And I've watched the first episode, and I'm happy to report it's quite good, and it seems pretty promising. I'm talking about Dororo, or Dororo for you English people. Dororo is based on a manga series from the 60s by Osamu Tezuka of Astro Boy fame. One of the more, if not the most famous mangaka.
Does look like Astro Boy.
Yeah, he's probably the most famous mangaka of all time. In before, well, I guess his only competition right now is Toriyama and to an extent Oda, but yeah, so it's a, I believe it takes place during the Sengoku era of Japan, like most stuff does. But it's more fantastical version because, you can't just tell the same old story that these kids learn in history class, right? These Japanese kids. It's about a Ronin named Hakimaru, who was basically this isn't really spoilers because it happens in the first 10 minutes of the show. By the way, this is I believe this originally had an anime that aired in the 70s or 60s.
1967 was the start of the manga.
Yeah, and
69 was the anime.
Yes, and this is the reboot of it, basically.
2007 was the live action.
Yeah, so it's about Hyakimaru. He is his father Daigo Kagemitsu is a daimyo who basically wants to like rule the world. So he basically asks a shrine of demon Oni statues. There's 48 Oni. If they could take whatever they want from him if they promise to help him conquer the world. And so they basically take all the body parts of his unborn son, and and he rather kind of dark, gruesome scene. His wife gives birth to basically like a bloody skeleton. It like doesn't show anything. She just like gives birth off camera, and then she's holding a baby, and they're like, "Here's your son, my lord." Then like the midwife opens it up, and it's just like a bloody skull, like poking out. And then his wife's like, "We need to keep it." And it's like, okay, it's a skull, lady. So, so he obviously like he's like, well, the demons listen to me. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to conquer Japan. I'm going to conquer the world. And he takes the baby from his wife. He wants to like keep it, and he's like, "Listen, lady, it's already dead." And she's like, "Well, at least let me hold him till he like actually dies." And he's like, "No, we gotta dump him in the river. Buddha will take care of it."
Side note: his name means little monster.
Oh, it does. That's nice.
There's a lot of cool little things.
So he puts him in the river. And then like a monk basically finds him. Your basic like kid in a river story.
Right.
He grows up and 16 years later as a Ronin. Is wandering Japan, where he comes across a thief named Dororo, the titular character, and Dororo is in trouble. She stole some stuff from another group of thieves. They're going to try to beat her up. When all of a sudden the thieves get attacked by an Oni, and of course Hyakimaru shows up and fights the Oni, kills it because he is searching for the 48 demons that his father sacrificed him to. If he kills them all, he gets all of his body parts back. And when he kills it, he gets like his skin back. At first, he's wearing a mask, and everyone comments that he looks like a doll because he fights with prosthetic. Basically, as prosthetics, he pulls them off and has like swords underneath them. It's very. It reminded me a lot of L5R. I was like, this could just take place in Crablands. Some daimyo makes like some dark deal with some Oni, sacrifices his son to them to become the emperor or something.
Except for the prosthetics bit.
Yeah. Unless you go crazy.
It could be like Yoshimitsu style.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, there's a whole group of crab that have lost an arm, and they would probably kill for a prosthetic.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
It's just not something that exists. At least
the Kaiju
in
should
current
develop
one.
those.
Yeah.
There's a character idea. But anyways,
I'm going to tell you right now, it would turn into a hand cannon, a flamethrower or something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jade launcher, Jade shotgun, basically.
Kapow!
Yeah, so I'd never heard of it until I watched it yesterday. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. And Meta, you said you've watched the live action movie, so I'm like curious what your thoughts of it are, and like maybe how it like the story setup differs a little bit, because this seems really cool. The style of the anime is very good. I really like the opening for it too, so I'm excited to watch this on a weekly basis. So tell me what your kind of experience with it is.
All right, prepare to be disappointed, Obs. That's all I'm No, actually,
Meta disappointed in samurai things.
I know, right? No, that's not true. I actually did watch Dororo. There was a point where the wife and I were watching different movies, and that was one of the ones we picked up. We actually like our foreign movies a lot. We always like them up, see what they are, and that was one of them. So we watched it together, and I actually thought it was pretty good, all things considered. It is a bit over the top. The live action movie is a bit over the top, and there's definitely some cheesy like effects that go on in it. But man, oh man, if you can just kind of let that go and you just understand that this is a bit anime for a live action movie, it's not bad. I am really enjoyed the concept of it. I like this idea of this guy going around and essentially killing off the demons and becoming more human uh, with every victory. What's actually really interesting about it though is that he's kind of immortal because he isn't actually made up of anything. He's just made up of alchemical and fake pieces. So being stabbed and whatnot doesn't really do anything to him. His skin will just his body will just kind of grow back with the alchemy that was utilized or whatever. Or at least that's the way the movie puts it, is that the monk who found him was actually an alchemist as well. So but as he's picking up more pieces, he actually has to end up being more and more careful because now he can actually die. He's got an actual heart
that's
now.
interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, every time he grabs a new piece, he actually becomes more and more mortal, which is kind of funny. He's fighting quite literally for his humanity. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. The thief is very funny. She's a very good foil to the otherwise quiet, stoic character that the titular title character is. And they kind of play off well enough of one each other. That kind of reminds you of like the straight man and the Joker in like a comedy duo. And that's kind of really feels like she's always poking and prodding at things, at least in the movie anyway. She's always kind of like poking and prodding at him, very volatile in nature, which generally requires him to make some sense of response or answer to it, which she of course doesn't like, and will then poke and prod even harder or make exaggerated claims on something, which he really can't say no to because he doesn't have any control over her. But she kind of refuses also to not leave him alone. So I would say you're probably in for. I hope the anime is as good as the movie was for me. I mean, the movie is not Shakespearean by any means.
Yeah.
But I hope the anime is just as good. Probably will potentially even be better because it can tell more of a story. And draw parts. Whereas movies generally got only a running time of
You got to crunch it in at like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, whereas an anime, obviously that's nothing. That's like maybe 6 episodes at best. So,
I'm actually glad that the manga had a short runtime because that means I'm guessing that the 12 episodes is going to cover the entirety of the manga. So we'll get like a complete story essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was decent. I would recommend it to anybody who has a chance.
Are the Oni cool that he ends up fighting? And it also talked about he has like a brother too. I'm guessing the brother becomes a major character.
The brother. So again, for this is the live movie, so it may not.
Yeah, it could be different.
It could be different. He does have a brother. They eventually have another son, like his mom and his actual mom and his actual dad have another son. And he is effectively
the true heir.
Yeah, he's the quote unquote true heir and whatnot. They've got like another kid, and they never really tell him about the fact that you had a son before you, but we kind of fed his body to demons. Whatever. Might be an awkward dinner conversation to have. Son, we need to talk.
What?
There is that. The demons, there's not again, I never read the original manga or anything. I was just kind of watching the movie, so they had to cut out what they could. Some of the demons, a lot of them are also very strongly tied to folklore of Japan in and of itself. So you can definitely expect certain staples to possibly show up. But it all depends what they're focused on. In the movie itself, he faces off against a couple of them, but there's only 2 of them that he truly ends up getting to big fights with. Otherwise, it's generally kind of just shown that he goes and fights a demon. It cuts to a scene of him fighting a demon, and then he gets another part, and something grows back, and then he fights another demon, gets another part, goes back to kind of show a montage effect. But the ones he did fight were really interesting, at least in the movie. I thought they were really cool. They were nice choices to make, and the way that those demons approached him in the different scenarios that they were placed in was fresh. They didn't just do the same thing. It's like, oh no, you found a demon, let's fight to the death.
Yeah.
They did have different approaches to, depending on if they knew it was who he was, or if they didn't know who he was, or so on and so forth. So they did have at least some characteristics to them. They weren't just kind of like, your stock villain of the week, like in a Power Ranger or something. So if that will definitely at least keep it fresh, and hopefully they follow that with the anime as well, because then they can definitely make sure that the villains all kind of have their own identity to the problem. Though I'm sure that they'll kind of probably go over some of the demons and just wash through them when they need to.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's doing what it needs to hook me, because I love like supernatural monsters and Japanese mythology. It's got my dark, edgy boy main character who doesn't say the lone wolf who doesn't say a lot and like wants to kind of be left alone. Has like the tragic past.
The lone wolf who immediately teams up with someone else.
Yeah, the kid with the heart of gold.
The lone wolf that immediately throws his own title away.
That's like every most Ronin story, like Sword and the Stranger, Lone Wolf and Cub. There's always like the kid with them.
That's because they're not interesting characters by themselves.
You gotta have someone to play off of.
Yeah, you do. That's like storytelling 101. You always have to have somebody to play off of somebody else.
So yeah, this has promise. In a season I didn't really see a lot that I was excited about. I came across this and forgot about it, remembered it the other day, and then watched it and was pleasantly surprised. So,
I'm gonna have to go watch this so I can compare it to the movie.
The animation's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I was seeing some of the previews for it. It looks really clean.
Yeah, and the OP again is a banger. So there you go. As the kids say, it's a banger.
It's a
what
banger,
is it?
bro.
Didn't the Neverland, didn't that get an anime?
The Neverland?
I think that's
Promise
spring.
Neverland?
Promise Neverland. I could be wrong. I thought it was spring. Let's see.
No, the
if it
Promise
is, I'm gonna watch
Neverland
it.
has an English. Let's see here.
It comes out tomorrow. The first episode.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, that I think will be really good.
Yeah. I'll watch that too. Maybe you can talk about that next week.
Dark.
'Cause I don't think we've ever talked about Promise Neverland,
We-
other than
I think we briefly
in
touched
passing.
on it.
we've talked about it like tangentially, like every time it comes up.
It's worth
This
talking about eventually because it's a pretty big deal right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dark fantasy. Well, I actually have never seen this before, so I might have to check this out.
Promise Neverland's pretty good.
I
I need to catch up
on
with
it.
the manga. Yeah, me and you both has. I literally kind of stopped reading it right after like the first big arc ended.
I got caught up when they. Well, never mind. That's gonna be spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything like past first arc is pretty deep spoiler. So.
Yeah, like I think I finished the first. Like I don't know where exactly you define arc ending, I guess, but I think I finished the first arc. So.
Yeah.
Anywho.
But yeah, so I'm excited to keep watching that, and yeah, samurai stuff. We're back, baby.
We're back. New year.
It's a year of
time for
plague
new-
and samurai.
New year, new honor. Let's do it.
Eki Byogami spreads her wings
That's right.
and her plague across the empire. All right, this has been episode 73 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source for enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and talk about topic day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter, Podcast 5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast, Meta and Lily stream at twitch.tv/PSO Flow. What y'all been playing lately?
Actually, I've been
I know y'all
kind
been
of
sick, so you probably hadn't really been streaming. much.
yeah, unfortunately it's been really hard to put out because I've been sick and whatnot, and then Lily got sick from me because after marrying her, I like to share everything that I have. So
Exactly.
so I got her sick. But recently we just ended up playing a bit more of Parasite Eve, because apparently there is, I think, potential for a Parasite Eve reboot or potentially like a new variant of the game. I don't know. I have to look it up again, but kind of like, well, if this is true, we should play through all the Parasite Eves then, so we can get prep for this. And we also want to play another horror game, the new Resident Evil 2 that's coming out. So
I thought you were going to say Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. The most horrifying game of all time. Oh my my god, it's awful.
Wow.
The things you see in that, you can't unsee.
No amount of steel wool.
What is she on? What is she? It haunts me to this day.
Beyond that, I mean, I just recently did World of Final Fantasy. Just yesterday, just Tuesday, in fact, the new patch dropped, and I streamed that effectively all day of new content. So, yeah, I took the day off. I could not. I had to. They had new Evilise content out, and I was like, well, here we go, back to Final Fantasy Tactics.
I'm going to take Kingdom Hearts 3 day off, I believe.
I wouldn't blame you. So we've been doing that. I plan on potentially streaming actually some Phantasy Star Online because obviously that's part of the name.
That's a comfy game.
I love that game so much. We're probably doing a little bit more Smash. I was playing some Smash with Lily as well for one of our nights before we switched over to Parasite Eve. Probably do more with that with her if she enjoyed that, and we'll see what the future brings.
All right. Well, until next time, guys. May you be plague free.
Yar.
Or not. Get infected through your ears.
Yeah.
Yar.
You're all sick now.
You sound like a Simpsons character there, man.
I know, right?
Guy. All right. Bye.